Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Prime, live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the Nigerian-born professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience and top-flight researcher Ijeoma Uchegbu on her election as president of Wolfson College, one of the 31st colleges of the University of Cambridge. Professor Uchegbu, renowned for her innovative work in nanoparticle drug delivery, is currently a professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience at University College London. President Tinubu, in a statement by his spokesman, Ajuri Ngelale, on Sunday, celebrated the outstanding accomplishments and commended Professor Uchegbu for being an excellent ambassador for Nigeria and her relentless efforts to advance the frontiers of pharmaceutical science. The president applauded Uchegbu as epitomizing the ingenuity, brilliance, and hard work that are constantly synonymous with the great Nigerian people, both at home and abroad. The organized labor in the country will soon come up with a strong position on the suspension of the payment of the wage award to civil servants and has warned the federal and state governments to prepare to increase the minimum wage from the current 30,000 naira monthly. It called on state governors to pay the minimum wage once it is signed into law next year. Already, conversations are being held around the new minimum wage, which is expected to be signed into law soon. The federal government, on its part, has budgeted the sum of 1 trillion naira for minimum wage adjustments, promotion, arrears, and severance benefits for civil servants in its ministries, departments, and agencies. Analysis of the 2024 appropriation budget released by Budget Office of the Federation revealed. However, state governments have largely remained silent on the issue of a new minimum wage for their workers, even in the face of escalating cost of living nationwide. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has approved 35,000 naira wage award for state public servants. This was just as he also approved the payment of 50,000 naira, 50%, I beg your pardon, of basic salary as an end-of-year bonus for all political appointees and public servants, employees of local government and local council development areas, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, and the Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps. The approval was obtained in a circular obtained and signed by the Lagos State Head of Service, Bode Agoro. The statement further noted that the end-of-year bonus and the wage award, which would be paid alongside December 2023 salary, would be non-negotiable. Non-taxable, I beg your pardon. The Kogi State House of Assembly on Saturday re-invited the Ministry of Solid Minerals to appear before it next Tuesday to defend her budget for 2024. Also re-invited to appear before the House is the Director General Kogi State Solid Mineral Development Agency. The Chairman, House Standing Committee on Solid Minerals, Honorable Motayo Ishaya, gave the directive at the Assembly complex following the absence of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry and the Director General of the agency. The committee Vice Chairman, Jibril Abu, who is the current lawmaker representing Ajaokuta State constituency, lamented that if Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello shuts down his engagements to appear before the Hallowed Chamber to present the budget, he sees no reason why some heads of MDAs would ignore invitation by various House committees to defend the budget for next year. The Enugu State government says it will reopen one lane of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway collapse bridge for use by December 24th. The State Commissioner for Works, Gerald Otiji, disclosed this while briefing newsmen after the State Executive Council meeting held at the Government House, Enugu. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State had on November 9th announced that the federal government would commence the reconstruction work on the collapsed bridge. Mba noted that the reconstruction will begin with palliative work on the one lane of the bridge that was standing to ensure it was ready for use within the next 9 days. Speaking, OTG said the Federal Ministry of Work is reconstructing the Artisan Cattle Market Bridge in collaboration with the Enugu State Ministry of Works. And the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, says on Sunday that a multi-million naira mansion located at the Victoria Garden City Estate, Lekki area of Lagos, as clandestine, I beg your pardon, laboratory for the production of methamphetamine by a convicted drug baron, Okenwa Chris Nzewi, has been forfeited to the federal government. The agency said this followed his successful prosecution and conviction in court for drug offenses. Spokesman Femi Babafemi said Okenwa was arrested alongside his associate Sonny Uka on 30th July 2022 and subsequently arraigned on a 4-count charge at the Federal High Court in Lagos. They both pleaded guilty on 17th July 2023 while they were convicted and sentenced to 4 and 3 years imprisonment each, with an option of fine of 4 million naira and 3 million naira respectively, in addition to community service for 4 and 3 weeks each. His vehicle was equally forfeited for use by the federal government. At least 200 Nigerians have died from Lassa fever in the first 11 months of 2023, a disease that is preventable with good hygiene and treatable if presented early at the hospitals. Over 1,170 confirmed cases of the disease were recorded across the country within that period, indicating a fatality rate of 17% in Africa's largest country in terms of population and economic size. The details of the disease spread by rodents were released on Saturday by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, on its website. In a statement on its website, the NCDC said the data was from 1st January to 3rd December, and the confirmed cases were recorded in 28 states and 114 local government areas across the country. Similarly, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, on Saturday said 13 cases of dengue fever have been confirmed in Sokoto State. In a statement posted on its official website, the Director General of NCDC, Ifedayo Adetifa, said the outbreak was detected in November. Adetifa said so far 71 suspected cases and 13 confirmed cases have been reported in the 3 local government areas across the state. He said 60 cases were reported from Sokoto South, 3 cases from Wamako, and 1 case from Dange Shuni. He, however, said no deaths have been recorded from the outbreak, noting that majority of the suspected cases reported fall between the age range of 21 to 40 years. Adetifa said the current risk level of the dengue outbreak is moderate based on a dynamic risk assessment. A fire accident on Saturday night gutted the transmission company of Nigeria's power substation in Maryland, Lagos State. According to a late-night statement released by the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the fire has been put out. The fire erupted at the transmission company of Nigeria power substation at Maryland Junction at about 8 p.m. and has been put out by the crew of the Ilupeju Fire Service of the Lagos State. The Director, Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adeshaye, also stated that no casualties were recorded as an investigation into the cause of the fire and the enumeration of valuables affected is ongoing. The Kano State Deputy Governor Aminu Gwazo has vowed to thoroughly investigate the recent fire outbreak caused by some miscreants at the Gwale Local Government Secretariat. The incident resulted in the loss of millions of naira in property damage. Gwazo, who doubles as the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, pledged during a visit to the affected sites on Sunday evening to assess the extent of the damage. He assured the public that the government would leave no stone unturned in determining the cause and bringing those responsible to justice. He urged the people of Gwale to remain calm and law-abiding during investigation. According to the Director of Personnel for Local Government, Alhaji Awal Dambata, the fire incident occurred on Wednesday, December 13, 2023. It engulfed 3 departments and affected 18 offices within the Secretariat. You're watching Global TV News Cycle from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news cycle, the news prime returns, EFCC boss seeks legislation against unexplained wealth. The news continues shortly with details of this and more stories right after this break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is Global Television bringing you live updates of the News Prime. The chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, has called for legislation against unexplained wealth as a way of checking the criminal activities of treasury looters in the country. The EFCC spokesperson, Dele Oyewale, in a statement at a two-day international law conference organized by Cristobal University, Mowe, Ogun State. The theme of the conference, Unexplained Wealth in the Global South, examining the asset recovery and return trajectory. Olukoyede said several countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, Mauritius, Kenya, Zimbabwe, and Trinidad and Tobago, had embraced the unexplained wealth orders since it came into force in 2018. The EFCC boss, who was represented at the conference by the Abuja Zonal Commander, Assistant Commander of the EFCC, Adebayo Adeniyi, emphasized that treasury looters would have little cover if the issue of unexplained wealth was tackled more seriously across the country. Dr. Betta Edu, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, has revealed that Nigeria is currently offering shelter and protection to roughly 100,000 refugees and more than 8,500,000 internally displaced persons. Speaking at the Global Refugees Forum in Palexpo, Geneva, Switzerland, where global migration, refugee consent, and lasting solutions were discussed, Betta Edu presented Nigeria's position on the matter. He outlined Nigeria's efforts to include refugees, IDPs, returnees, and their host communities in national development plans. The federal government has pledged to enhance protection, ensure access to durable solutions, and actively engage in regional efforts addressing displacement causes. The commitments made by Nigeria include financial, material, and technical support, affirming the nation's dedication to collaborating for long-term solutions benefiting millions of displaced people worldwide. And the Ondo State government has denied that the acting governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, froze the account of the local government. The reaction came after some officials of the local council said that a memo from Aiyedatiwa had informed them of the freezing of the account. Aiyedatiwa became acting governor again on Wednesday after Governor Rotimi Akeredolu proceeded on another medical leave. There were apprehensions after the unavoidable transfer of power, given the rift between Aiyedatiwa and people close to Akeredolu. The purported freezing of the account of all the local governments in Ondo State by the state acting governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, is therefore a serious anti-democratic and unconstitutionally politically suicidal move, which was probably born out of ill or improper legal advice, according to Emo Damari. But the State Commissioner for Information, Bamidele Ademola Olatuji, on Saturday described the reported freezing of the accounts as false. On the foreign scene, the ECOWAS court mandated the Republic of Senegal to reform Article 109 of its organic law governing the Commission for the Compensation of Persons Unreasonably Detained on Remand. According to a statement issued by the Communication Division of the Community Court, the judgment orders Senegal to align a portion of the law with its international commitments, particularly that under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. In the judgment delivered by Justice Segun Mohammed Koroma George Rapotwa, the court declared a violation of those rights to a fair trial, the right to be tried within a reasonable time under Article 7, subsection 1, subsection D of the ACHPR. It also declared a violation of the principle of equality of citizens before the law under Article 4 of the ACHPR. A Vatican court has sentenced the Italian Cardinal Angelo Becciu, a former advisor to Pope Francis, to 5.5 years in jail for financial crimes. Becciu, who is 75, was the most senior Vatican official ever to face such charges and once seen as a papal contender himself. The trial centered on a London property deal that ended in huge losses for the Catholic Church. He was on trial with 9 other defendants. All were convicted on some counts and found not guilty on others. The trial, which exposed infighting and intrigue in the highest Vatican ranks, had been going on for 2.5 years. He strongly denied charges including embezzlement and abuse of office. Cardinal Becciu's lawyer says his client was innocent and will lodge an appeal. The Israeli army says it is investigating the killing of 3 hostages, which it says has been mistakenly identified as a threat by soldiers, an incident that sparked protest in Tel Aviv. The military says Yotam Haim, Alon Shamriz, and Sama El Talaka, all in their 20s, were shot during operations in Gaza City. They were among about 250 people taken hostage during Hamas's October 7 attacks in Israel, which killed around 1,140 people, mostly civilians, according to Israeli figures. The military said later it had started reviewing the incident and that immediate lessons from the event have been learned and passed on to all troops on the ground. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described their deaths as an unbearable tragedy. On the business desk, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has announced the disbursement of more than 1.7 billion naira to customers affected by the revocation of licenses of microfinance banks and 4 primary mortgage banks. Speaking at the 2023 NDIC Editors Forum in Lagos, Bello Hassan, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of NDIC, revealed that the payments were made following the revocation of license by the Central Bank of Nigeria earlier this year, affecting about 183 institutions comprising microfinance banks and primary mortgage banks. He highlighted that the insured deposits represent the initial claim paid to depositors by NDIC in the event of a bank's license revocation, with set limits of 200,000 naira and 500,000 naira per depositor per bank for the MFB and PMB subsectors, respectively. The leadership of Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, NECA, and the National Union of Food, Beverages, Tobacco Employees have raised alarm over looming mass sack across the country. This is just as they called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intensify his efforts to protect the jobs of remaining workers left in the country to forestall rising cases of insecurity across the country. Citing the over 20,000 workers that already lost jobs within a few weeks as reason for their call, both NECA and the NUFBTE warned that the efforts to bring in fresh investors by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu would remain a mirage, as would-be investors would be discouraged as old ones are closing down. In his own submission, the Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, reminded federal governments that a multitude of hungry men and women could be potential instrument against peace. Oyerinde called on governments to reduce the heavy burden that is working against real sector for surviving and new ones to come in the land. Li Suda, Cultural Counselor of the Chinese Embassy, has urged China and Nigeria to exploit the untapped potential of fashion shows to boost textile industry and increase gross domestic product (GDP). Li, who is also the director of China Cultural Center in Nigeria, made the call during the first edition of Cinema Nigeria Fashion Show on Saturday in Abuja. He expressed confidence that fashion show could contribute significantly to boosting the textile industry and increase Nigeria's GDP in the long run. Also speaking, Geng Pengtao, Managing Director of Sinoma Nigeria Co. Limited, said that when GDP grows, employment opportunities would increase, with textile companies hiring more workers. Pengtao reiterated Sinomo Nigeria's sustained principles of cooperation with local enterprises to contribute to the growth and development of the country. In sports, NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been taken to hospital after breaking his hip in a fall at a concert on Friday. The 76-year-old, who is only six-time most valuable player in league history, is said to have surgery in a Los Angeles hospital. Abdul-Jabbar played in the NBA from 1969 to 1989, winning 6 championships, 5 with the Los Angeles Lakers. He held the NBA career regular season, scoring a record of 38,387 points until LeBron James broke it in February. The 19-time All-Star, who stands at 7 feet 2 inches, still holds the record for regular season field goals, and career minutes played 57,446. AC Milan technical director Geoffrey Moncada says the Rossoneri is impressed with the recent performance of winger Samuel Chukwueze for the club in their last 2 UEFA Champions League games. Chukwueze joined Milan from Villarreal in the summer but has struggled to translate season's form for Milan, firing blanks in 11 matches, 6 of which he started. But despite his slow start in Italy, the 24-year-old is gradually finding his feet at the club, scoring in consecutive Champions League games against Newcastle United and Borussia Dortmund. According to Sempre Milan, Moncada expressed satisfaction for the Nigerian harping on his work rates and skill set. And that's it on Global TV News Prime, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.